Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to God's Yellow Light. Today, I have an important story to share with you, a story that has profoundly transformed the way I live my life. It's a message that could also change your approach to life and to those who inspire you every day. Don't miss it, because it could truly make a difference. Before we begin, I ask for a small favor. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. It will help me feel closer to you and grow together as a community. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, let's get started. Good morning, Ryan. Thank you for being here with us today. To start, could you tell us who you are and what your story is?
Good morning and thank you for having me. My name is Ryan, and I am married to my wife, Emily. I have been living with her for over 10 years, and we both work in the healthcare sector. June 9th, 2023, was a day that irreversibly changed my life. While I was going down the stairs at home, my foot slipped, and I fell down the steps. The impact was terrible. The world around me was spinning wildly. I felt a piercing pain that went through every part of my body, and a cold sensation was making its way into my limbs. Everything went black.
I am so sorry for what you went through. Can you describe exactly what you felt during those moments of falling and losing consciousness?
Certainly. During the fall, the feeling of vertigo was overwhelming. Every step I took seemed to slow down, and the sound of the stairs collapsing beneath me turned into a distant hum. The pain was so intense that it felt like every nerve in my body was on fire. The cold darkness was enveloping me, and I felt my body freezing as consciousness slowly faded. It was as if I was being torn away from the physical world, leaving behind only pain and darkness.
What exactly happened when you regained consciousness? Can you describe that moment?
When I regained consciousness, I found myself in the arms of my husband, Michael. The first thing I heard was his voice, sweet and reassuring, whispering words of comfort to me. Despite his reassurances, I could see the fear in his eyes. He helped me sit up and quickly carried me to the car to take us to the hospital. Every second in the car felt like an eternity, and I saw Michael looking at me with pleading eyes, trying to convince me to stay awake, to hold on a little longer.
Was it difficult for you to maintain the connection with Michael while feeling the force pulling you away?
Yes, it was extremely difficult. I felt an internal struggle between the desire to stay with Michael and the irresistible force dragging me toward the unknown. Every breath I took seemed to push me further away from life. I could feel a cold grip around me, and my vision became increasingly blurred. Despite the pain and despair, I tried to focus on Michael's voice, attempting to stay connected to the world I knew, but it was as if a dark force was slowly extinguishing every spark of life within me.
You mentioned experiencing a sudden sense of peace. Can you describe what you saw and heard at that moment?
Just as I felt I was about to give in completely, a profound sense of calm enveloped me. The pain and fear subsided, replaced by an inexplicable peace. I looked up and saw my body lying on the passenger seat, still and fragile. Michael's frantic voice was now distant, and I calmly realized that my soul had left my body. I found myself in a state of lightness, as if I were sitting beside myself, observing the scene from a completely new and surreal perspective.
Was it frightening to feel detached from your own body? How did you react to this new perspective?
Initially, it was a feeling of confusion and disbelief. Seeing my body so vulnerable and powerless deeply affected me. I felt as though I were in a dream, yet everything was so vivid and real at the same time. I watched Michael trying to keep me awake, tears streaming down his face, his desperate prayers. It was as if I could see everything that was happening, but I couldn't do anything to intervene. This new perspective made me reflect deeply on life and death, leading me to a more profound understanding of my faith and spiritual beliefs.
When you found yourself in this new place, how would you describe it? What struck you the most about this place?
The place I found myself in was beyond any earthly imagination. It was incredibly beautiful, with an air so pure it seemed to breathe peace. The colors were more vivid and bright than anything I had ever seen on earth. The sky was a perfect blue, without a single cloud, and there was a light that radiated warmth and serenity. The sense of peace was palpable, as if every fiber of my being was in harmony with the surrounding environment. I immediately wondered if it was paradise because the beauty and tranquility of that place far exceeded what I had imagined. However, there was also a sense of mystery and something deeper that went beyond my understanding.
Did you encounter other people in this place? If so, can you describe them and how they interacted with you?
Yes. I noticed several groups of people gathered on the grass, each focused on a single figure standing in front of them. The man speaking was dressed in white and exuded a calm and reassuring authority. His voice was gentle yet powerful, capturing the attention of everyone present. He seemed to be everywhere at once, teaching and guiding each group with wisdom and compassion. The people around me listened attentively, their faces reflecting deep understanding and serenity. There was a sense of community and unity, as if we were all part of something larger and more meaningful. I approached one of the groups, finding a place to sit and listen more closely to what the man in white was sharing.
What did the man in white say about the future, particularly the year 2025?
The man in white began to speak about the future, focusing on the year 2025. He shared a vivid vision of what was to come, showing scenes of a familiar world transformed by events yet to unfold. He spoke of progress and achievements, but also of great challenges and upheavals. A central theme of his message was unforgiveness. He explained that in 2025, those who held grudges in their hearts against family members, friends, colleagues, or others would face terrible consequences. The spirit of death would come for those who had not resolved their internal conflicts, bringing devastation and despair into their lives.
How did you react to this vision of the consequences of unforgiveness?
It was a powerful and unsettling revelation. Seeing families torn apart by grief, homes filled with loss, and communities gathering to bury their loved ones deeply affected me. The images of bright and intelligent people, scientists, doctors, artists, and leaders, whose lives had been prematurely cut short, made me reflect on the importance of forgiveness and reconciliation. It was evident that the lack of forgiveness had sealed these people's destinies, depriving them of the opportunity to further contribute to the world and leaving an irreplaceable void in their communities. This vision underscored the urgent need to embrace love and forgiveness to avoid such devastating consequences.
Can you elaborate on how the man in white described hell and its implications?
The man in white described hell not just as a fiery abyss, but as a realm of suffering and despair. He showed condemned souls screaming in anguish, trapped in an eternal cycle of torment. The cries of pain and suffering filled the air, creating an atmosphere of terror and desolation. The man in white wept as he watched his tears mingle with those of the condemned, expressing profound sorrow for the missed opportunities of love and forgiveness. This depiction of hell made it even more evident how important it is to live a life of compassion, forgiveness, and love to avoid such a fate.
How has this experience influenced your faith and spiritual beliefs?
This experience had a profound impact on my faith and spiritual beliefs. Seeing the beauty and peace of the spiritual realm, as well as the harsh realities of hell and the consequences of unforgiveness, made me reflect on my life and relationships. I realized that forgiveness and love are not just moral values, but essential elements for our salvation and for living in harmony with others and with God. This revelation prompted me to renew my commitment to Jesus, embracing his teachings and striving to live a life that reflects his divine love and grace. It also led me to desire to share this experience with others, to help anyone who might still harbor grudges and bitterness find peace through God's forgiveness and love.
After receiving these visions, did you feel a specific calling from Jesus? If so, how did it manifest?
Yes, absolutely. After the profound revelations about 2025, I felt a gentle yet firm presence beside me. Jesus himself, the man in white, whom I recognized as Jesus, approached me directly. His eyes were full of deep kindness, and an unmistakable authority emanated from his gaze. He spoke to me gently, but with a clarity that penetrated the depths of my soul. He instructed me to return to the earthly realm and become a preacher, a messenger of his teachings. The mission was clear: to share the urgent message of love, forgiveness, and repentance with those who were still alive. This divine calling gave me a clear purpose and motivated me to dedicate my life to spreading this important message.
How did you prepare to fulfill this mission? Did you face any particular challenges?
Preparing for this mission was an intense inner process. I began with constant prayer, thanking God for His mercy and asking for strength and wisdom to carry out the message. I deeply reflected on every detail of the experience, striving to fully understand the meaning and importance of forgiveness and love. The challenges were numerous: facing my fears, overcoming feelings of inadequacy, and maintaining faith even in moments of doubt. However, I felt a constant guidance and a determination that pushed me forward. I started sharing my story with friends and family, trying to inspire them as well to forgive and embrace God's love.
Can you tell us about the reactions of the people you shared your testimony with?
The reactions were varied but predominantly positive. Many were touched by my story and expressed gratitude for sharing such a personal and transformative experience. Some admitted to struggling with forgiveness and found inspiration in my words to begin their own paths of reconciliation. However, there were also people who were skeptical or found it difficult to accept my spiritual experiences. In any case, I believe that the truth and authenticity of my testimony touched many hearts, prompting them to reflect on their own lives and consider the importance of forgiveness and love in their daily existence.
What main messages would you like our listeners to take away from this interview?
I would like our listeners to understand the crucial importance of forgiveness and love in their lives. Forgiveness is not just an act of kindness toward others, but also a gift of peace and liberation for oneself. Embracing Jesus' love means living a life of compassion, humility, and forgiveness, avoiding the traps of bitterness and resentment that can lead to devastating consequences. Additionally, I hope that my experiences serve as a warning to take spiritual teaching seriously and to live in a way that reflects divine grace and goodness, thereby contributing to a more harmonious and compassionate world.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for sharing your incredible story and for your commitment to spreading such a powerful message. Is there anything else you would like to add before we conclude?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my experience. I would just like to encourage anyone listening to this testimony to reflect on their own life journey, seek forgiveness, and embrace God's love. No one is ever too far to be reached by divine grace, and every step toward forgiveness and reconciliation can lead to a fuller and more meaningful life. Thank you again, and may God bless you all.